The halo effect. Ever met someone and instantly thought, wow, they must be good at everything, just because they dressed well or flashed a charming smile? Congratulations, your brain just got haloed. Welcome to the halo effect, a psychological shortcut as old as, well, civilization itself. The term was coined by psychologist Edward Thorndike in 1920, when he noticed that military officers tended to assume peppy soldiers were good at, basically everything else. Talk about overachieving first impressions. The halo effect shows up everywhere, from classrooms, where teachers give higher marks to attractive students, to job interviews, where confident candidates get extra points for their handshake. Even Aristotle put it poetically, personal beauty is a greater recommendation than any letter of reference, even if that reference is written on scented letterhead. And the fun twist? The halo effect works both ways. Just as a positive trait, say, charisma, makes people assume all-around excellence, a negative first impression can spawn a devil effect, where one flaw eclipses all virtues. So, next time you find yourself secretly admiring your dentist's taste in shoes and their advice on taxes, ask yourself, are you seeing the person or just their shining cognitive halo? Turns out, our brains are suckers for shortcuts, especially the glamorous ones. Mirror neurons. Ever caught yourself yawning just because somebody else did? Or cringed at an awkward scene in a movie? Blame your brain's monkey see, monkey do neurons, scientifically known as mirror neurons. Discovered in the early 1990s by neuroscientists Giacomo Rizzolatti and his stylishly lab coat-clad colleagues in Parma, Italy, these neurons fired when monkeys performed an action, and also when they merely watched somebody else do it. Cue the rise of empathetic monkeys, and eventually, empathetic humans. So, what's the big deal? Mirror neurons are the unsung heroes of empathy, social learning, and, let's be honest, every dance move you've ever stolen at a wedding. They're why we flinch when someone stubs their toe, and why contagious laughter isn't just a party trick. Some researchers even call mirror neurons the neural Wi-Fi that links us to other people's feelings and actions. And if you've ever felt a tear slip out during a sappy commercial, just thank your mirror neurons for being such softies. From the mimicry of babies to the Broadway-bound performances in kindergarten plays, our brains are wired to connect and reflect. As the philosopher Spinoza wrote, the more you struggle to live, the less you live. Give up the notion that you must be sure of what you are doing. Instead, surrender to the moment. Or, in this case, just surrender to the yawn. Reciprocity Principle. Imagine you're in ancient Mesopotamia and your neighbor surprises you with a fresh fish. Social rule? Now you owe them something fishy in return. Welcome to the Reciprocity Principle, one of humanity's oldest cheat codes for influence, deeply rooted in our collective psyche and possibly in our stash of baked goods. This principle got its modern limelight from psychologist Robert Cialdini, who named it as a major driver behind why we say yes. Ever felt compelled to buy $20 worth of Girl Scout cookies simply because you got a free sample? Reciprocity at work. Beware the power of small favors. Anthropologist Marcel Mauss described the concept in his classic work, The Gift. In most societies, refusing to reciprocate is like committing a social faux pas so severe that even your pets might stop trusting you. Seriously, dogs know when you're holding out on treats. Reciprocity isn't just about cookies and fish. It's the social glue that turns strangers into friends and friends into trusted allies. Whether you're borrowing a shovel, sharing notes in class, or navigating the Byzantine world of office coffee rotas, The urge to repay kindness can open doors, build bridges, and occasionally get you dragged into awkward pyramid schemes. If you ever wondered why people give mints after dinner at restaurants, the answer isn't oral hygiene. It's reciprocity with a minty fresh twist. Scarcity Tactics. Ever raced to snag the last slice of pizza or bought something just because the sign shouted, "Only 2 left in stock"? That's scarcity, a play straight out of the influence playbook, and you don't need to be Nostradamus to predict its power over us. Scarcity is ancient. It's what made polished rocks and purple dye the Bitcoin of antiquity. Economist Adam Smith mused that the real price of everything is the toil and trouble of acquiring it. In other words, if it looks rare or is about to disappear, we want it. Blame the inner caveman who hoarded berries as if no more would ever grow. Marketers know this game all too well, from limited edition sneakers to airline seats evaporating before your eyes. Scarcity triggers a psychological cattle prod. Suddenly, rational thought takes a back seat, replaced by FOMO, fear of missing out, which, by the way, is practically an Olympic sport in some circles. Ironically, scarcity can inflate value, even when the item isn't particularly remarkable. Think about that Black Friday TV scramble. Nobody needs a new television, but suddenly everyone has to have one. Why? Because there's only one left, and it could be yours. The next time you leap at a last chance deal, just remember, the only thing truly running out is, maybe, your self-control. Emotional contagion. Ever walk into a room and immediately feel the vibe? Whether it's energetic or so tense you could slice the air with a plastic knife. Welcome to emotional contagion, the phenomenon where moods and feelings jump from person to person faster than a cat meme on the internet. The idea is ancient, echoing through the works of Plato and Shakespeare, but the science got modernized thanks to psychologist Elaine Hatfield in the 1990s. She showed that emotions can spread like wildfire, often without a single word. Think of it as invisible, emotional Wi-Fi. No password required. Emotional contagion explains why rallies, concerts, and viral TikToks can whip us into a frenzy, or why one grumpy commuter can bungle an entire subway car's mood. Social psychologists even credit group dynamics to this emotional echo chamber. No wonder laughing babies on YouTube are so powerful. They're mood sorcerers. Sigmund Freud, never one to miss a party, mused, "Emotions are contagious. Crowd psychology is a primal force." Too bad he didn't have a Twitter account. So next time you find yourself inexplicably happy or inexplicably grumpy, look around. You might have just caught someone else's feelings. Who knew vibes were so contagious? Authority bias. Picture yourself in a lab coat. Instantly feel smarter. You're not alone. Authority bias is the tendency to trust opinions, instructions, and even fashion choices coming from figures we perceive as authoritative, whether or not they're actually qualified. The most infamous story comes from psychologist Stanley Milgram's obedience experiments in the 1960s. Volunteers, urged on by a doctor in a white coat, delivered fake electric shocks to strangers, proving people will obey almost anything if someone seems important enough. Terrifying, and a bit too real, right? Our brains love an authority. He who does not reason is a bigot. He who cannot is a fool, and he who dares not is a slave, wrote William Drummond. But sometimes we outsource our thinking to anyone with a clipboard. From ancient shamans and pharaohs to TikTok finance gurus, this bias has stood the test of time. Marketers slap expert recommended on toothpaste. Politicians cite studies. Parents? Well, they say, "because I said so," which, let's be honest, is peer-reviewed at the School of Hard Knocks. Before you buy into the wisdom of the expert, Ask yourself, does their authority come from real knowledge or just a really nice lab coat? Social proof. Why does everyone suddenly line up for a shop with a crowd outside, even if nobody knows what's being sold? Welcome to social proof, the classic, if everyone else is doing it, I probably should too mentality. First theorized by psychologist Robert Cialdini in the 1980s, social proof is rooted deep in our evolutionary history. If your Stone Age tribe scattered from a shady-looking bush, you didn't stop to ask for details. You ran. Survival of the fittest, or at least the most mimicable. Social proof drives Yelp reviews, tip jars, seeded with bills, and every viral meme you've ever seen. And don't get us started on laugh tracks in sitcoms, there to assure you that, yes, that joke was funny, even if you didn't think so. Arthur Schopenhauer once quipped, "Opinion is like a pendulum and obeys the same laws." In other words, the crowd creates its own gravity. So if you've ever bought something just because it's Amazon's #1 bestseller, or you've joined a flash mob in the park, accidentally or not, you've been swept away by social proof. When in doubt, look for the herd. But also, maybe try asking where they're heading. Anchoring effect. Imagine being offered a $5,000 sofa, then seeing a $500 one. Suddenly, that second sofa feels like a steal. That's the anchoring effect, a cognitive bias where the first piece of information you see, the anchor, distorts how you judge everything that comes after. Economists Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky formalized this effect in the 1970s, but merchants have used it since money was invented. Ancient market traders knew that by showing you something outrageously priced first, your brain would reset its normal, even if the normal is, frankly, bananas. Real estate agents, car dealers, and even charity fundraisers anchor perceptions by throwing out big numbers, then making you feel clever for negotiating down. And let's not forget every retail discount. That $200 jacket half off at $100. That's the anchoring effect doing cartwheels in your shopping cart. As Mark Twain philosophically, and maybe sarcastically, observed, there are three kinds of lies. Lies, damned lies, and statistics. Or, as the anchoring effect teaches us, sometimes the numbers themselves do all the convincing. So, next time you're faced with a jaw-dropping price tag, pause and ask, did you just get anchored? Or are you truly scoring that deal of the century? Found this video interesting? Leave us a like and subscribe for more videos like this one. Let us know what we should cover next in the comments below.